Hey, welcome to another episode of the Conscious Energy Officer Show. I'm your host today, John Costanzo. My other two guys, Graham and Grant, are quite busy. So I thought, why not just keep it going and reach out and connect with everybody because everyone's looking for another episode. So here I am, and today we are going to talk about respond over react, which is a very interesting topic, in law enforcement. Um, it's really important that as an officer, we respond when we go to a call versus just reacting. When we're reacting, we're going through with emotions and fear and judgment and anxiety, and that's not how we want to police. It's important that we respond. And lately, I was talking to an officer in DC, and we were discussing, these mental skills. And, with that, I came up with a process. And, I just wanted to run through this process just for you officers watching or listening to really kind of understand how this works, how these mental skills come into play on a day-to-day basis. So let's just start. You get a call, man with a gun, or an assault call, a fight in progress, and you're responding. Okay. Now, in that situation, our second skill, policing present. You're in this physical present moment. You're not anxiously thinking about the future. Your mind isn't somewhere in the past. You are here in this moment because this is the only moment that counts. This is the only moment that matters right now. This is the moment where you can change something. So we get the call, fight in progress, right? Now you're going to the scene, lights and sirens. But let's backtrack a little bit. What is this call doing to you? Emotionally, physically, it's heightening your senses. You get this alert tone that catches your attention, right? It alerts you. You're instantly driving the energy up. The tone of the dispatcher's voice drives your energy up. Sometimes the way officers respond, or there's already an officer on scene, they're excited, right? So what do we do naturally? Naturally, we get driven up. We can get tunnel vision. And that's not what we want to do, right? So we want to choose our response. We call that palms down. Physically putting your palms down. Sometimes I'll be coding and I'll just be doing this. You know why? I'm slowing things down. I'm driving the energy down. What's the rush, right? If we go 100 mindlessly, we're not in the present moment, we have a higher chance of getting into an accident. We have a higher chance of striking at a pedestrian that's not paying attention when we're going lights and sirens. Our mind is on the scene. Nope, that's not the way to go. Our mind needs to be in the present moment. And that's where we go back to policing present. Before you even get to the scene, it's important that we're in each moment as they develop. Going lights and sirens to the scene. It's good to take in some information from what you know, but it's limited information, right? We're not going to go into it with judgment. We're going to be open to what's actually on the scene, right? So it's important to go lights and sirens, but focus on each intersection, the direction you're going to go, getting to the scene safely. That's where we need to stay in the present. Now, there's going to be moments where it takes you out of the present. Someone's not getting out of your way. You're starting to get in your feelings. You're getting frustrated. How could they not see me? How could they not hear me? Right? That's when we need to come back to the present. Okay, out of my control. Let's come back to the present. All right. No problem. To stay fully present all the time is extremely difficult and it takes practice. We call it progress over perfection. So, coming back to the present, we realize we have awareness. We're not in the present moment, we're in our head. We need to come back to the present moment. The safest place to be is in the present. All right. So, we're responding to the scene. So, what we're really doing here is we're establishing inner control. We're disarming ourselves. Everything's trying to drive us up. We're bringing it down, palms down, calm, cool, and collected. It's important that we disarm our own fear before even getting to the scene. It's important that we're calm, cool, and collected before we even engage with this individual or these individuals. Could be multiple, right? It's very important because if we're not calm and cool, it's not going to go well. It's not going to go well. So now we are getting to the scene. We've disarmed ourselves. We're calm and cool and collected. We're in the present moment. Now we observe. We're observing what's going on. This is where what's important now comes in. Are we dealing with a problem or a paradox? Which one is it? If it's a problem, active shooter, somebody choking, someone needs CPR, you have to take action, right? Something needs to happen. Now, if we're dealing with a paradox where they're not necessarily responding the way you would hope they would respond, but you're not in danger, you tell yourself, hey, I'm safe, right? You're driving that energy down. We don't police from fear. Let's connect with this person. Now, this person is not responding. Let's just say they're freezing. You're talking to them or you're trying to talk to them and they're frozen. They're not responding. What do? We get frustrated sometimes, right? Naturally, we're there because something happened. So we're frustrated, or we may not be frustrated, but we're not getting any results, right? Our next job, our next focus is to disarm their fear. Okay. Now, subconsciously, and look at it like this, you're a police officer. If you get pulled over by another police officer, what happens? What do you feel? You might get a little anxiety. Your heart might start racing. You might start saying, oh, what did I do? Right? So, guess what? Subconsciously, your nervous system is putting you in this fear, right? This emotion. So, think about it when you're dealing with somebody. What do you think's going through their head? Do you think they might be in fear? Clearly, they're not responding, so they're freezing, right? Or what do they do sometimes? They run, right? They run for what? For something so simple that happened, but yet they're running. Or something so small, but yet they run. That's their nervous system kicking in, right? And what do? We chase them. Or they might just want to fight you, right? But this is where it's important to drive that energy down. So important. Palms down. You're the conductor of the energy. We're not trying to control. We're driving the energy down, lowering our voice. slowing slowing down our speech. You're really driving it down. Unless you're very excited and oh my gosh, we got to handle this. No, that's not that's not going to work, right? So now we disarm their fear. This is where a lot of officers struggle with because they don't have the tools. They don't have these mental skills and understand this process of, it might be our pride or our ego where we feel like we're getting disrespected, but that's where being the servant leader is very important. We dissolve me and evolve we. We work together. Called competitive collaboration. We work together. And you got to remember, it's you and them versus the problem. Yes, they may have committed a crime, but in the end of the day, it's all good. You work together. When you say, well, you did this or you did that, think about your spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. Think about your spouse or your relationships. When you say you, what do people do? Naturally, they get defensive, right? So we get defensive. Now think about that. Now, if you say, hey, let's work this out together. How does that sound? That sounds a little bit better, right? Yeah, and that's what we want to do. So it's you and them versus the problem. Whatever crime was committed, it's not about them. It's about the problem. Now, you do need to be safe. This we need to understand. And we're in this problem versus paradox, right? So we're back to the fight, flight, or freeze, disarming their fear. Now, what I found is you connect with them. When somebody calls you a name or you're a piece of whatever, you're a piece of crap. Hey, I understand. If that's your response, and that's me choosing my response. Now, if you react, I'm not a piece of crap. What the hell are you talking about? No, that's not how this works. You have to choose your response. When you choose your response and say, hey, I understand. When I say I understand, it doesn't mean that I understand that I'm a piece of crap. What it means is I understand why you feel that way. I understand you might not have had the best experience with police, right? But I'm different. So I understand why you would feel that way. If you watch the news, I understand. If you say I understand, what would their response be? How could you respond? How could somebody respond to I understand? You're agreeing with them. You're not fighting them. You're not disagreeing with them. You're saying, I get you. I understand. And if they say, no, you don't understand, okay, no problem. Help me understand then. Now you say that. Now you're giving them an opening to speak how they feel. That's beautiful. You do that, guess what? Now you've realized you've just disarmed their fear because what do you say? I appreciate you helping me understand. I get it now. I understand. But hey, listen, I'm here for this. This is why I got called here. I don't want to be here just as much as you don't want me to be here, but it's my duty to be here. So let's work this out. Let's work together to figure this out. I've used it so many times in the field, and it's amazing how it works when you speak about this and you connect with them in this way of understanding. I'm in no rush to get to these results. No rush at all. And this is what we call walk to win. We're not anxiously rushing to results, trying to solve this. No, we're trying to connect with this person, to understand them, to disarm the fear. When fear is involved, when emotions are involved, it raises the stakes. Lower the stakes. Lower it down, palms down, all day. You lower the stakes, you realize these results come no matter what. We don't need to anxiously rush to these results. They just show up because you know why? We connect with this person. Connection is so key once you disarm that fear. I had an incident the other day. Someone was playing loud music. You're not allowed to play loud music in public like that, right? On public transportation. What did I do? I connected with him. He was going back and forth with another officer because that officer was trying to control. Not his fault. That's all he knows. That's all he was taught. And guess what? I come in. Hey, let's talk about it. Brought it down. It's like, hey, how's your morning been? I kind of had a rough morning. Oh, I understand. Just got off of work. I feel you. When I'm leaving work, I love to blast some music. But guess what? I'm in a car, nobody else. It's not bothering anybody else. You're in public. Some people just don't like that. I get it. But I totally understand why you'd want to just kind of disconnect and blast some music. But we can't. You know that. He's like, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. He apologized. Then we had a conversation. He had Chick-fil-A. I was like, man, I'd be eating Chick-fil-A right now. I wouldn't be so focused on this music. I'd be crushing that Chick-fil-A. And he's like, oh, yeah, And it's like, it was cool. At the end, he apologized. He's like, thank you. He thanked me. Right? So think about that. I wasn't trying to control. I connected with him. I disarmed his fear. I was calm and cool. And I connected with him. Something so simple that got so elevated from both parties, yet I came in, and you can come in too and do the same thing, right? But it's having that inner control. I didn't look at it as me versus him. I looked at it as him and I versus the problem. The problem is you can't play loud music in public space. That's a problem. People will call, they will complain, right? We will get a call for that. It's something so small, though. Some people would say it's petty. I agree. Sometimes, certain things, yes, they can seem petty. I understand. But it's having that conversation, connecting with that person. So next time I see them, it's cool. That's community policing. That's being the servant leader, right? We're peace officers. Peace. Think about that. Like this. Calm and cool. That's peace. Control and aggression. Reacting. That's not peace. Responding. You're the leader in this space. That's where connection comes in. And then from there, we have competitive collaboration. This is working together, serving this other person, even though they may have committed a crime. It's you and them versus the problem, right? You and them versus the problem. And guess what? Listen, this is progress over perfection. You're never going to perfect this, even though some people in the community, your leaders, the department, the government, it doesn't matter. They look at us sometimes, the media, big player in this. They want our best. And I understand. I get it. But we're not perfect, right? This is where you need to have compassion for yourself. You're going to make mistakes. You can know these skills. You can practice them every day. I do. For years. You could be in this space. It's never going to be perfect. You're not always going to be 100% present. It's not going to happen. We call it be where your feet are. Connecting in the present moment, right? When I first started, oh my goodness, I probably did 1,000 times. Be where your feet are. Look at my feet. Where are my feet? I'm in Silver Spring, Maryland. What am I doing here? I'm doing my job. What do we see around us? What do we hear? Connecting to the present moment. 1,000 times. Right now, I do a lot better job, but it's still not perfect. It's progress, right? We're making progress. And this is the evolution of policing. We're making progress. The world is evolving. We need to evolve as a community. We need to evolve as leaders. So this is where we're at. All right. Competitive collaboration. You and them versus the problem. Just like the guy on the platform. Hey, listen, you know, you can't be playing loud music, right? Yeah, you're right. All right, cool. No problem. Here's the deal, right? You go where you got to go. When you get there, crank it up. Have a great day. Told me about his stressful morning. He opened up. I disarmed his fear. Told me about the stressful morning. I connected with him. Hey, I get it. I understand. I feel you. It was all good. He apologized. He thanked me. It changed his perspective. It changed his day. Everything went cool. But at no time was I trying to control him. We were just having a conversation, right? We were just having a conversation. And then we went on, you know, with our day. Didn't have to use force. I didn't have to control. But what I've experienced is now you have created this connection, right? This is where we're really bridging the gap because next time, and I've experienced this multiple multitude of times where you connect with somebody and guess what? You see them next time. Guess how that goes? It's beautiful. They remember you. You made an impact on their life because that stressful moment that had nothing to do with you de-escalated them. You disarmed their fear. And now they're not afraid of you. Now you skip that step, right? You go from in control, you're into connection. You're not in this disarming their fear. No, they remember you. So you instantly go to connection and then competitive collaboration. And you're like, hey, let's work together. They remember that you worked with them with the problem versus the problem instead of you versus them. They remember that. And it goes so smooth. It goes so smooth. It's so nice. The problem gets fixed. The outcome, the results, they show up. We don't need to control them. We don't need to control the outcome. It just happens. And this is the process. This is the process. And it's a beautiful thing. So understand that there's no rush to these results. It's so important to walk to win. So important. Sometimes it's even just sharing your own story. When I say I understand, it's because I've been there. I get it. I get a stressful day. Trust me, I do. And I'm sure you do too. So connect with that person. You know, build that bridge that gap because it really goes a long way. And then next time you have that experience with that person, it's a whole different experience. And that's being a servant leader. That's being the servant leader. That's being the peace officer. And it all comes back to responding over reacting. Think of it this overreacting, it's an overreaction. When you're just reacting mindlessly, what happens usually? We end up apologizing, right? Because we're in our emotions, we're in our feelings. Take yourself out of that. It's okay to feel a certain way. initially, but have awareness for it. Don't just react to it. Breathe and be. We've said that before. Breathe and be. Just be in that moment. Breathe. Take a moment. Because the worst thing we could do is just react. We don't want to do that. We want to respond. And we do it by palms down, choosing your response. So that's the process. Thanks for watching. I'm going to start doing this every week, and soon we're going to be going live every week. I'm thinking Tuesday or Wednesday. We're going to be going live. I'm going to bring officers in. We're going to have real conversations. They're going to share their stories. We're going to go over some of the skills. Graham and Grant are going to be in and out, and it's just going to be great. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching the Conscious Energy Officer Show. I'm John Costanzo. Catch up next time. Peace. Stay present.